Cryptocurrencies today represent the new, shall I say, gray zone as far as countries are concerned. It's like countries are like blind men who are trying to go ahead and describe an elephant. No wonder no country really knows which is the magical golden way going forward, but each one of them are going their own respective manners. So clearly, countries are concerned that the coming of blockchain and the coming of cryptos could potentially have an impact upon their cyber sovereignty, their cyber security, as also the sovereignty, security, and integrity of the concerned countries. India is also one of those nations who has flagged these kinds of concerns. But that is primarily happening because the holistic understanding of the new technology has not been, shall I say, completely analyzed in complete depth. Everybody is waiting for the new cryptocurrency bill or the crypto assets bill. And the kind of voices that we are hearing are effectively seeing a swing of the pendulum from one end to the other. So, from the time when there was talk of banning to now the time of a more prudent approach of just waiting on and just looking at low hanging fruits, it's a mixed bag. So, we'll have to still wait and watch as to what is the final verdict out in terms of the actual language that's used. But clearly, crypto brings forward various challenges. Governments are wary, primarily because they believe that the coming of crypto could potentially be invading onto some of their sovereign space. And therefore, also, crypto could be potentially used for not just breaching cybersecurity, but also for assisting cybersecurity protection. So it's a double edged sword that people are slightly concerned with. On top of it, we are now beginning to find that crypto forensics is now beginning to emerge, and the big discussion even today is whether crypto forensics needs to be the answer for fighting crypto crimes and the broader cyber crimes. Clearly, that could be a good, interesting proposition for all of us to follow, but we have to quickly realize that in India, if you're talking about crypto forensics, then ultimately the law would still consider crypto forensics as nothing but digital forensics. And that being so, it will still ultimately come out to be nothing but a computer output. So, clearly, the law on electronic evidence, which is now being set up by the Supreme Court, will have to be complied with by all crypto forensic service providers who are providing any kind of crypto forensic analysis and reports. And the law has also seen a massive up and down approach because, right from the Parliament House attack case, when they said that, look, Section 65B of the Evidence Act was not necessary, and even without a certification under the Evidence Act, the electronic evidence could still be made admissible because of the national interest involved, and the subsequent cases ultimately converging in Anwar PV versus PK Bashir in 2014, where the Supreme Court said that by and large, you will have to understand that Section 65B of the Evidence Act is a distinctive code in its own self. For those of our listeners who don't have the holistic viewpoint, Section 65B was added in Indian Evidence Act by virtue of the Information Technology Act, which talks about admissibility of electronic records. And any kind of crypto forensics, ultimately, the output would still be an electronic record. So the Supreme Court in 2014 said that Section 65B is a mandatory code in its own self and has to be complied with. We thereafter started seeing various permutations and combinations, different interpretations being held by different benches. And finally, the Supreme Court said there's so much of confusion. Let's send this to the Constitution bench. And in July 2020, the Constitution bench of the Supreme Court, in the landmark case of Arjun Pandit Rao Khotkar versus Kailash Ghorantyal, held that you will have to now comply with the basic law of the land, that's Section 65B of the Evidence Act, which is mandatory. If you do not give a certificate certifying the authenticity or veracity of electronic evidence, then whatever best your evidence is going to be, it will be waste paper basket material, and the courts would not assume any kind of cognizance of the same. So, seen from that perspective, when I talk about computer forensics generally and crypto forensics in particular, the legal and policy issues are very clear. The crypto forensic service providers or the experts, as and when they come up with the reports or any kind of extracts that they come as a result of the computer forensics or crypto forensics, will have to also comply with the mandatory provisions of Section 65B of the Evidence Act. That's the forensics part. But that's not really stopped people from going ahead and trying to, shall I say, experiment with the misuse of blockchain per se. So no wonder the kind of massive increase in crypto crimes that we have begun to start seeing is also a culmination of this new trend. I think in the Indian context, people love to subscribe to the Indian Jugaad school of management. And they like to do Jugaad, and everybody is now trying to do some Jugaad or the other as far as the crypto ecosystem is concerned. So, a lot of legal, policy, and regulatory issues that the government will have to deal with. But I think we must take it each step as it comes. Right now, the only focus will still be the proposed cryptocurrency bill. We don't know how quickly it's going to come. We don't know how they're going to make a distinction between public blockchains versus private blockchains. I think the more low hanging fruit would be on trying to come up with enabling legal framework for the Indian digital rupee as a starting point, and then subsequently going and seeing how they can go ahead and tame the animal. But I think India must not, as a nation, try to go ahead and reinvent the wheel. The time has come where India must learn from the experiences of other countries. When I look at Malta and its three distinctive national laws on blockchain, I can tell you there's a lot of learnings out there in that particular island country. No wonder blockchain island is what Malta is otherwise known as. We can also learn from the Belarus experiment and their cryptocurrencies and the crypto assets bill, where they have primarily considered these crypto assets as legal crypto assets, which are also granted the manifestation of a legal tender under certain specified circumstances. So rather than just starting on our own, let's learn from other countries. But yes, it's a constantly newly evolving paradigm, and a lot of new and policy issues will continue to keep on arising as we go forward.